Ken Quartuccio from Wallingford, Connecticut, and Jerico Balduf. Quartuccio, the Q80 Racing sponsored bright orange Camaro. Both cars getting their burnouts complete. Jeff Pierce, I believe still the crew chief for Jerico Balduf of New Smyrna Beach, Florida, the extreme concrete business where they make their bones. These guys are hardcore Roots Pro Mod racers. They were Roots guys in the PDRA, Roots guys here.
For Quartuccio, you mentioned Nick Janik, and I've seen my fair share of him. Quartuccio's from up in your part of the world.
Yes, New England guy.
The New England area, and I would imagine that of all the people that are on the property this weekend, you've probably seen him go down a racetrack as much as anybody.
Believe it or not, the answer is no, and I'm not just saying that to contradict you. He was kind of a late bloomer in the drag racing world, in that during my formative years of New England Dragway and that whole scene, Ken was not a pro mod guy or anything like that back then. But once he got into racing, he did the primary amount of his racing down south. So he ran a class called Outlaw 632 for years down in Bradenton and some other tracks in Florida where that class was born. He and Jamie Miller came to dominate that class. He took that Outlaw 632 success and then stepped it up with some big tires. They started to run some pro mod stuff, Radial versus the World stuff. He is now a very strong runner in the PDRA, and it's great to see him continue to dip his toe into the world of NHRA Pro Modified drag racing. But yeah, for the fact that he lives 100 miles south of me, I've never seen him in his home state.
That's pretty good. That's what Fuel Tech Pro Mod's supposed to look like. 584.6 for Jerico, and that's actually a step backwards by a couple of hundredths of a second at only 244 miles per hour. But Quartuccio makes best run of the weekend, 589.7, 243, puts him number 11. I'm not sure that when we go to set the field for eliminations that that's going to be safe or even comfortable, but for now, he'll take it.
Yeah, I think they're on the right path. It's incremental progress. They ran in the 90s the first shot. They just wicked the car up just enough. They touched the high 80s. They can now come out tomorrow and try to move themselves maybe from an 11 to a 5 or 6 spot. And by the time you're done, maybe you can try to run the thing in the 70s. But I like the approach that's going on with Quartuccio and that car.